Hello everyone and welcome to your horoscope for the week of January the 30th, February the 5th, 2023. We have a really interesting week ahead of us where the sky is quite active, but the energies are in a way more spread out than we are accustomed to. And of course, this is good news in so very many ways because I have to remind everyone that the most influential celestial bodies, the planets, are direct. So this means a lot of momentum from every perspective, inner momentum, when we do feel very, very strongly that the time is here. I have the strength to do, move, make it happen, change, stop myself from doing this and that, because for some people, for example, a lot of 12th house activity or 6th house activity, that might be the more important theme where it's not necessarily to do, but rather not do and do something also with the void that the not do is going to leave something constructive, something like a positive change, a new routine, getting rid of an old habit, bad habit, whatever that may be. And of course there is a lot of personal power here because Pluto is grinding down on the very last degrees of Capricorn, and that means power and authority. Now we do see very, very clearly how that plays out on the world stage, where, really the fight for power is tightening and the grip power has over everyone and everything is also kind of tightening. We're under a heavy hold collectively, but of course that's also individually because we're also in our lives a Capricorn, so to speak. So we have authority over our being, our lives, our time, our energy, our resources, our emotions, our everything basically. And Pluto is reminding us in a very stark way that much more in life is and always was a choice than we ever thought it could and would be possible. So this is where all of us are changing our old, very old choices and taking back our power one way or another in at least one area of life individually. So it is a very, very important period for all of us. And this adds to the intensity, and this adds to the time is here, and the momentum, and the determination, and that I'm really, really, really doing this. No more excuses, no more running away, and no more with Neptune. All I can say is mismanagement or bad management of escapism and fantasy and all of that. And this theme, how do we manage our beliefs, fantasies, desires, aspirations even, is gonna be highlighted very strongly because on one hand, this is a week where Venus is in the sign of Pisces in exaltation. Yes, it still takes her a bit of time until she reaches her exaltation point, but she's still exalted, so romance, ideals, the more elevated expression of the spirit is flowing in everything, all of us, through us, within us. Of course, Venus can also play out a certain melancholy, a certain desire to be much more introverted, live from within, but at the same time, this is also romantic in so very many ways. Even the solitude, loneliness, the artistic, this is where it is the cradle of the artist. There is where the best creations, ideas are definitely born, conceived, inspired divinely. So with Venus, it is a period full of inspiration. And also, a lot has happened in the sign of Pisces. So Venus transiting here after April 2022, when she was part of the meeting of Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. Well, she is going to re-evoke emotionally, mystically, empathically, whatever has been part in so very many ways, including artistically. So this might be a very important period for everyone who is an artist or has anything to do with art and even self-healing and, self-psychoanalysis, wanting to understand the self. So this is going to be a very, very important period. With Venus, not yet, not this week, but it's already starting, re-evoking the magic, the mystery, and the karmic nuance of April 2022. This is where such a big and important meeting of these two planets is going to reverberate in the coming years as well, whenever something very important will touch that 27 or something like that degree of Pisces. So yeah. And we're already gonna be feeling it because romance is in the air, and the allure to be romantic, to believe more in ideals, to believe more in basically the illusion, but the beautiful illusion of life is definitely there. But towards the middle of the week and the end of the week, Venus is going to be holding a square with Mars in Gemini. So this says we need to be careful with what we do with illusion, what we do with fantasy, and where romantic and the romance, the ideal, the immersion into it, the escapism, where it leads us. Because chances are it is not really a good period to make promises, commitments, to give into the romance. Enjoy it absolutely, because withdrawing, the opposite, that basically defeats everything. It's like self-defeating, because Venus in the sign of Pisces is meant to nurture our souls artistically, or with inner states, with escapism, with art, with meeting people in a more like an elevated spiritual or artistic or cultural, why not, way. Like, I know, going to the theater, going to this club, that club, where of course you allow this exalted energy of Venus flow, because that is what it does. It enriches our lives, it enriches our experiences, it inspires us, and it connects us to other people who are living muses, and naturally we are living muses to them as well. So this energy has the tendency to do all of that, but also where with square with Mars in Gemini, make sure it's not too much. So have measure. But as I said, withdrawing and using the energy of Pisces as isolation and secluded is also not a good expression of the square. The extremes are not a good expression, and Gemini and Pisces are always the signs of extremes, where they can go from one extreme to the other, and many times their biggest karmic exam in life is to find the balance, which is not necessarily the middle path, but what is comfortable to the native, the individual itself. Anyway, this is how we need to manage the square between Venus and Mars. So not make promises, not get allured, not get sucked in to the game. And Pisces, illusion, lies, deception, Venus, too good to be true. So scams and people contacting you and alluring you into making an investment, or don't be deceived, and also redefine the small print, how you say that. So read everything in the contract. So be careful, because not everything is as it seems. This is the more dangerous side of the energy, the lie, deception, the, our fantasy Venus takes us there because we want to believe, because Venus is like that. But other than this, I'm just looking at my notes. Venus also holds a sextile with Uranus. And this is a good energy. This is a good expression. This is quite a delightful energy, because the surprise, how quickly the fantasy can become reality. But we need to also respect the square she holds with Mars. So if it's real, let it prove itself, with patience. But the sextile to Uranus, sometimes it's real and it just pops up as a surprise, and it is also quite a good energy for romantic declarations, romantic surprises. Uranus, how certain friendships change to something else. You've always been friends, but something just happens and you're not friends like that anymore. You're more or different, or it's also a really good energy for sexual healing, why not? And also Venus is the ruling planet of Taurus, so it's quite a Venusian expression. Positive, beautiful, delightful surprises. Could be, and Venus is also, money, currency, so this can be gifts, this can be receiving, this can be honors, this can be compliments, but all of this also does something, not necessarily materially, although for some people it's gonna be material, but it's lived, Taurus. It makes a difference in any way, shape, and form. So that's why it's really, really good. Because the Taurus, it just doesn't stay ethereal indefinitely. It becomes comfortably real. So it's a really good energy for all of this. But there is other surprises in the sky, because at the beginning of the week especially, Mercury holds a trine with its higher octave, Uranus. Good news, nice feedback, whatever has been going on under the Mercury retrograde season, not so long ago. So December to the 12th of January, if I'm not mistaken, something like that. Or 18th, 9th, something like that. Well, this is where the wisdom, whatever you corrected, whatever you redone, rethought, rearranged, or whatever you solved from the past, all the labor, all the foresight, all the diligence, all the being strong and wise pays off one way or another. Capricorn so very many times has something to do with work, with what we've done, what we've shown, what we've been, like a role that we played, mastery, embodying all the paternal and divine masculine qualities, endurance, patience, lending a helping hand, a shoulder to others, extending your strength, giving good advice, being a positive example. All of these things pay off handsomely. So it can also have a lot to do with something that you've done a labor, professionally or not. A positive feedback, a present, a big thank you, a reflection that really makes you feel powerful, Capricorn. And also, the week after, Mercury will meet with Pluto. A moment of truth, a moment of change, a moment of transformation. Not when it happens, but rather when we become aware of how much we have changed already, how powerful we are already, how empowered certain choices were, and because they are already affecting our lives in an, as I said again, empowered way. Or Pluto, what we cut out from our lives, what we given up on, what we lost, what was. I didn't understand that. Well, speaking about Mercury, sorry, I'm so sorry. I don't know what got into her, the phone, I mean. But yeah, maybe Mercury's with us, right? I'm so sorry for this. I'm not gonna edit this out because it's so funny. Robots, artificial intelligence, Pluto in the sign of Aquarius going into very soon, very, very soon. So they do have ears, don't they? So I'm so sorry. Where were we? Yes, so Pluto in the sign of Capricorn meeting Mercury, how powerful our choices are. Any choices, even that which is unconscious, really, where we say, I do no longer wish to be subject to this reality, that course of events. That's also power, great, great power in itself, because we can become aware of how much we cut out something from our lives and we became free of it. But this is more next week. Another energy that is quite significant here is the Sun squaring Uranus. Now, this really means that our lives can become busy unexpectedly. This can also mean where we thought about certain people, certain plans, even a schedule one way, and something just happens, something just pops up, Uranus or Uranian moment, and everything is upside down. This is where, surprise, surprise, but where it can truly make us highly uncomfortable schedule wise, or priority wise, or mentally, where if it's upside down, we have to rethink everything, don't we? And maybe some of us cannot afford this because, but as I said, surprise, this can also represent over solicitation. Maybe this week, everyone, from friends to clients to whatever people you can be connected in your life, everyone wants you, everyone calls you, everyone needs something from you. Why? But vice versa, where sometimes you just cannot solve a situation without calling for help or asking someone, or sometimes some things in life cannot be done solo, and everyone will have to come to the point where they have to admit, yeah, I have to ask for help. So you can imagine sometimes it is actually us who have no choice but to be that person who asks from another. But it is, these energies are such. Uranus gets us out of our comfort zone, our usual, our fixations, and the Sun in Aquarius, well, others, collective, the individual and the collective, society, or something comes from the external that might not have all that much to do with our big story, what we are doing in our lives, but there's something happens to the gas bill. It's outrageously high. Something happens, contracts which are unilateral from the state, from the government, council, where you live, housing, community. Things happen and we're affected and it's a big inconvenience. Or, sometimes Uranus small accidents, like you have this meeting and you're so prepared. Labor and preparation. Sun in Aquarius, your inner genius is online, it's there. But the pipe breaks. Either you call mommy, daddy, cousin, sister, best friend, boyfriend, girlfriend, even the sensual friend, anyone you can to help you out, or you delay. Or so this is how it can strike. But at the same time, this can also represent surprising opportunities in the most positive way, which overwhelm you. Where you say, well, there is no way this isn't 10 times bigger than I can handle. So what do I do with it? And one of the immediate steps is, yes, call a friend. Friend, anything Aquarian. Someone is out there in the world who you have to call and at least share this and see their reaction, even if they cannot help you with an advice immediately. But they might know someone. So you need to start the news spreading. If that, and there's no way out. Because if the opportunity is way bigger than you are, you will need help to do something with it. So, yeah. Then we have other delightful energies with Mercury, because it does hold a sextile with Neptune. And let's not forget that Mercury is in the sign of Capricorn. I'm sorry. So it's practical, it's alchemical, Capricorn is the stage of manifestation. Neptune is the dream, the divine, even the illusion. An illusion that we fuel sufficiently becomes reality ultimately. Mercury finds a way for it. But putting this aside, well, this is the energy where the inspiration leads us somewhere, the idea works, we have a connection with the divine, maybe intuitively, and we choose to follow it. And Mercury in the sign of Capricorn, it works. Divine intelligence, well, how should I say this? It knows stuff, like, it cannot get anything wrong. Even when it's... Where I want to go with this is truly that sometimes, life is a surprise for everyone and everything, even to the divine itself. Of course, out of sheer volition, but the divine will not want to ruin the surprise of the experiencing through us, for us or for it, if that makes sense. So it's just as blind to the great unknown in certain situations like we are, yet still it can navigate perfectly. We cannot. For us, it might be jumping into a big pool of water, the great unknown. But for the divine, no, it has GPS, it knows everything. So even the divine going into the unknown, it's different than us alone. But if the divine is present in our intuition, we are going so comfortably. And the sextile can represent the trust. The sextile can represent our courage to follow the intuition. But of course, for artists, for creative people, for... even if this is your business, Capricorn, this can be a really, really good period when either the inspiration is overflowing almost, or when you use old inspiration, you give it shape and form. Because maybe your, Neptune, inner Neptune, is like a data bank. Like, let's say, a very appropriate example, it's a cup, like in the tarot, the cups, Pisces, Neptune, water, and your cup is full. So you lived a lot, you dreamt a lot, you alchemized a lot, you philosophized a lot. Now the time comes when you give it shape, and the painting, the recording, the sculpture, the essay, you do it. And of course, you can expect beautiful results. So this is a really, really good energy to put work into everything that we basically can. Needless to say, the Venus sextiling Uranus, that also goes hand in hand with this, really. Because Mercury and Neptune come with one kind of alchemy. Venus and Uranus come with another kind, where the mind alchemizes and the emotional world alchemizes at the same time. And of course, the purpose is usually common. So this is a very, very strong, I'm sorry, empowerment for everyone. Yes, absolutely, it's not easy because on the 3rd of February we have the perfection of the Sun and Uranus square. So the unexpected, the inconvenience, the accident, the big shock, the truth, the schedule not going right, or the big opportunity which overwhelms you, or it can be other stuff. Because sometimes it can be a proper surprise, because you are invited somewhere and you go thinking that you're just another guest, and the party becomes basically where you get to be, wanted or not, the center of attention. So it will be wanted or not, as I say, your party, or you're the star of the show, or it's positive, but is it comfortable? I don't think so. And at the very end of the week, so around Sunday, well, we have a very powerful full moon in the sign of Leo. A full moon which is shocking, which is surprising, which is either a big leap of faith or a risk that we might take in itself, because it holds a T-square to Uranus. A T-square is Uranus. So this full moon in the sign of Leo happens around the 5th of February at 16 degrees and 32 minutes, something like that, in the sign of Leo. Moon in the sign of Leo, of course, opposing the Sun in Aquarius. Now, without a shadow of a doubt, this will be emotional. Moon on one hand, but Leo the heart. But then Black Moon Lilith freshly entered the sign of Leo. So she brings the intensity. She brings that the heart space, the fires of passion are already on standby, fired up. You know, when the heater is on standby, it's burning, and all you need to do is a press of a button or to turn the hot water on, and it flames up. So that's where Black Moon Lilith, even when she's quiet, it's like a small little flame on standby. It cannot be extinguished, so it's very okay. And a full moon, well, it's gonna be a big, big flare up, and Uranus, rebellious energy. Highly rebellious energy. Now, of course, individually speaking, this can be very, very positive. It can do stuff, Taurus. Because, you know, it's revolutionary, because we are outside of the comfort zone and we have to improvise. We have to sometimes soul search in 5 minutes, 5 seconds. And you can imagine that soul searching in such a quantum period of time, where usually one would need 2 months, 3 months to come up with what the truth of one's heart is. But then there's situations where you kind of have 5 minutes, so you better know yourself sufficiently, you know. So it can, but collectively speaking, well, I do tend to believe that this is quite as I said, the more classical expression of revolutionary energy. Why? Because the sun in the sign of Aquarius, that is where the light is, that is where the focus is, that is where the attention is. So the individual, everything that has to do with the self and the collective, everything that has to do with everyone else. We're part of the collective. Now, sometimes the problem is the collective, that the collective is totally not suitable for the individual. So I do get the impression that for many people, it's gonna be where they relocate, they move, they leave, they separate from a collective, and of course they will start a new adventure. The new adventure, but this new adventure, as I said, you separated. So if you relocated, you moved, like you had a shared accommodation, you went solo. There's no going back, so the new adventure is guaranteed. Now, how comfortable is it? This is the Uranus square, so it has the nice elements to it. It's new, it's fresh. I have to do it. I have to be okay. I promised myself. And then, of course, you recall all the bad, why you're going, why it happened, why the reload, or whatever this means to you. But there's also, but am I ready? You think of all the conveniences that you also lost. So this is like a mixed emotion. Aquarius, dual, sun in Aquarius. So the mind analyzes, the mind comes with pro and con. But there's the moon and Leo. The feelings are equally mixed. Leo doesn't like mixed. Leo kind of likes singularity. So Leo finds mixed kind of uncomfortable, but it's a good fuel. It's a very good fuel to move on forward, to push through. Now, this is also an energy. Full moon is completion, culmination. So it means that maybe a risk or more risks that you've taken not so long ago or a year ago, or under the Taurus eclipses in May, if I'm not mistaken. How do they pay off? You might see where they will lead you. And it gives you, of course, the power to change, the power to modify, the power to either withdraw and take a totally new action. So, as I said, this can come also as a reality check where you see where something that you've already started is gonna go, probably, Aquarius prediction, in the future, if the risk or you keep on risking continuously is worth it or not. But, individually, it's so and so, because one can alchemize everything, right? Collectively speaking, well, this can be quite an intense energy that will quite probably lead to some outlashes, maybe violent outbursts, protests, and political conflicts, of course, later on. And later on is not that later on, so quite soon, if you know what I mean. So this is kind of a volatile energy. It might also play out physically as well, where Uranus, as I said, Uranus has gone direct not so long ago, so it has almost like a swing. It's like a pendulum swinging, but like a wrecking ball. So that immediately means seismic activity, risk of accidents, earth changes, moon. and in fire sign. So fire, explosion, volatile action. It can also mean something being born unexpectedly. After all, Leo is the sign of creativity and children, so sometimes how a child is born. So, certain erotic activities can, you know, produce, create consequences, but usually that's a new moon. Under a full moon, maybe it comes to your realization that, yeah, it's the case. And, Taurus is also a sign which has to do with fertility and the divine feminine, the physical body in that sense. So, Uranus, the shock, the surprise there. And this is for some couples, this is a very pleasant and unexpected surprise, especially for those who might have had fertility problems. And surprise, surprise, miracle. And this means all the medical treatment is no longer necessary. So if you invested into that, it's a money probably you lose with a big smile on your Pluto. But, for couples who don't necessarily desire children, and they might have a certain security, feeling secure that they done what was needed, maybe this is like a surprise moment that quantum accidents do happen where there's that 0.0% chance, and surprise, you guys, the couple, were it. This time, fate chose you guys. So, yes, life kind of comes with surprises, and we must also not forget about the Venus-Mars square. Well, romance can lead into surprising directions, if you know what I mean. Because let's not forget that Gemini is the sign of a lover. So, romance, hand in hand with a very strong persuasive skill and, let's say, mental sexiness, can lower anyone's defenses. So, this energy can be very, very persuasive, and it might make people forgetful in the sense that, oh wait, it's so uncomfortable saying these things, but this is also part of astrology, especially young couples and people who have very active sexual lives have to be careful right now. Don't forget the safety measures, because new life can emerge surprisingly. And another energy which I find extraordinarily beneficial is also around the time of this Leo full moon. Juno meets in the sky with Chiron. And this is so beautiful, because Juno is Jupiter's wife, partnerships and all of that. Chiron, the healer. Some souls there either meet their healer, other souls fall in love with their healer, others, two healers unite powers, and something new is born out of their collaboration quite professionally. So this is where it's a powerful healing energy. Usually, the classical saying that healing comes from within, no one else can heal us apart from us. Where healing is really, really depending on us, our attitude. We need to be primarily healers for ourselves, accept healing, promote healing, want healing, because the healer, may that be doctor, nurse, healer, is just the catalyst. Yes, absolutely. But there are rare moments in life when there is that healer who kind of inspires us so much to self-heal that we think it was them, that it was a miracle or whatever. So yeah, this can be a meeting of such, destinies. And Pluto energetically also supports fated events, fated elements. So yeah, and in the following, since this is such an interesting week with an interesting and surprising full moon, I would like to say a couple of words for each sign, how not just the full moon but also Venus might affect their week. So for Aries, this is where you might have to make an important decision, an important choice based on what you feel in your heart and what your truth is. This might be regarding something professionally which you are passionate about, obviously. This can also be something, about your love life, falling in or out of love, and how does that affect your immediate reality ultimately. Or this can also represent an investment that you, or maybe a team up with a friend, an investment that you might be thinking to make, and at this full moon it might be revealed if that might lead you somewhere or not really. Now for Taurus natives, this is a week where everything in life, from the bigger and to the smaller events in everyday life, and what basically this week has to throw at them, is like a mirror of what comfort truly means to them. And what is it that they love, and what is it that they just need. So basically a big, how should I say, splitting apart from what love is and what need is. Many times the two are one and the same. Other times they are different universes. And there comes a week like this where everything in life kind of reminds us what is what in life. And this is very, very important for Taurus natives because they are beings who need to have a certain kind of comfort in their lives. For some emotional, for others material, for others physical, for others psychological, for others spiritual. But the element of comfort is all empowering for Taurian natives. So this is very, very important to them because it will affect their basically month of March. Because the month of March is when they put certain investments onto the table, when they usually buy new things, investing into the self, and it really, really matters to them who they share it with and what, basically standards are. And this is why what comfort means to them personally is so very important. Now for the natives born under the sign of Gemini, this is the week when travel plans, or better said, non-travel plans, are gonna be disrupted. Where they might be called to situations to help friends, professionally, as neighbors, as whatever, officially or on a friendship basis, but they are gonna be called to travel here and there. Shorter travels, but a very, very active and busy week when there's over solicited, absolutely. But strangely enough, they do find the energy to face everything and everyone, and they get also rewarded for it. If you are a business person or have your personal business, or you kind of depend upon negotiations, contracts, persuasion, it's gonna be very rewarding for you. Cancer natives, well, for these natives, it's a very strong reality check moment. It is where they need to kind of know who is with them and who is not. Who they can rely upon and who they cannot. In any way, shape, sense, and form. Emotionally, absolutely, because that's very important to them. Who is loyal and who is not. But more importantly, maybe in a concrete way, either financially at their job or hierarchy at their place of work, or whatever is very important to them. So they kind of need to know where they stand power-wise, respect-wise, in so very many different ways. And they might have asked and even kind of researched, symbolically speaking, all of this in the recent past, and this full moon can come as the mirror. Well, this is where you stand. So it's gonna be quite intense for Cancer natives. For Leo natives, well, it's a profoundly regenerative period. Even though life might be super busy, you might also need to take breaks. Maybe have that power nap, or turn off the phone and everything and just have a normal night where you go to bed at 10 o'clock or something normal or reasonable, and really invest into self-care. And for Leo natives, maybe, how should I say, you find someone who can really take care of your physical needs. Maybe a masseur, or someone who gives you physical pleasure, and the serotonin is quite healing. Moving on to natives born under the sign of Virgo. Now this might be a period, a week, when you really think about a respecialization. Now, for example, in order for you to actually start stepping into your future, I need this course, I need to finish my studies, I need to invest in my skills and my abilities, so I need learning, self-learning, auto-education, absolutely included. I need certain routine changes in my life. So all of this is where you kind of re-specialize. You update your game, you up your game, you start learning new skills. For some natives, very officially, where this might even come, maybe on a silver tray from work, from a company, from something, where it's a free course even, so you cannot even refuse, and it's unexpected. But unexpected in the sense that you desired it, and it came on a silver tray in that sense, a surprise. For others, this is where they're even willing to invest time and energy, but they need to up their game. But this also means abandoning others. So, prioritizing plans, dreams, even projects that are on a dying breath, they need to be put down and maybe scrapped. But anyway, it's not negative. It comes as wisdom. Because respecialization also means maybe a travel, surprise travel abroad, or a visitor comes, and conversation, dialogue, seeing how others do it, know-how of others can come in the inspiration, and then scrapping any project you do it with great joy. You know what? When I don't know which culture, they break plates and like all the dining set, and it gives them so much joy and pleasure. I'd so love to try that one. This is where Virgo natives, if that project is a big china plate, expensive one, you smash it into pieces and you have so much fun doing it. Now, natives born under the Libra, this is where things happen in their lives. Certain old friends come back unexpectedly, maybe forcefully, and you have a moment of truth, a moment of confrontation. But this is where new friends or new connections start coming into your life, where you might not want this necessarily, you might not even be ready, but it is what it is. You are actually, as Libras, quite good at that. So, kind of prepare yourself for life changes which you do not initiate, where people kind of, or friends, why not? Good friends drag you into this and that direction, so you might feel a little bit like a leaf carried by the wind, but it's good. It's not bad. Trust, well, not necessarily me, trust your lucky stars. For natives born under the sign of Scorpio, this can be a contemplative week when, what do you do career-wise? Maybe something is ending and something's beginning, and you need to make a decision if you want to make it part of your future or not really. Because for Scorpio natives, is it a job, a contract, a project, a routine, or anything worth my time, worth my whatever that is? Because some Scorpio natives might find themselves wanting to spend much more time with family, to be totally honest here. Scorpio natives are kind of feeling really affectionate. This is where the family person comes out from them. So this might affect their careers, their emotional epiphanies. Natives born under the sign of Sagittarius, well, this is where they might have quite a similar theme to Scorpio neighbors, Scorpios, because yes, it's family. Something might happen in family, either in your life or in the life of your children, life of your partner, sibling, parents, and this is where maybe a family union is called upon unexpectedly, or need to be there for one another. But this can be surprise, surprise. This can be you receive a phone call, Mom, I'm pregnant, or I'm expecting, or I have a boyfriend, or so it can be also an unexpected positive turnaround of events. But, family is gonna be quite stirred this week for Sagittarius natives, and there is gonna be news and communication. And maybe Sagittarius natives, they have an opinion about everything, and they will have to withdraw. And it will kill them a little bit inside, not having to give the advice, give the opinion. Well, if I were you, or according to my experience, knowledge, expertise, this is how they might have to just smile and not really. And, well, anyway, for natives under the sign, of Capricorn, well, it's quite an intense week where what do we do with money? Maybe they have certain needs. Where do I get the money? I need to be there, I need to go there, or I need to get this and that expensive equipment, my car, or I need money ASAP. Where do I get it from? So some might actually be considering taking a loan, a credit, getting basically into debt, which might not be a bad idea if it's something minimal, if there is little risk here, because it's basically a matter of timing. What's important is that you need it now, and of course, but if it's bigger, maybe under this energy, Venus square Mars, and then Sun square Uranus, bigger risks might not really pay off all that well. And neither selling stuff which you might regret later on. Purchasing stuff, however, now this is the deal. Sometimes materially is too good to be true, but it's actually true. But if it's from the misfortune, the tragedy of another human being, like someone was evacuated from their home because they were very, very ill and they couldn't pay the mortgage, and the bank came and it is what it is, and it's your good luck because you didn't want it, but it just came to you. It's good luck, but you also get the energy. You also, if you're a mystic, of course you will know what to do with it. But chances are, if you're just an opportunist, be sure to sell it on, because you will not be happy with it ever. Sell it on. What? Yeah. So for Aquarius natives, this is really about relationships and even contracts. And when it comes to partnerships and relationships, well, there might come a shocking revelation. Maybe a secret out from the closet. An unexpected turn around of events which does make Aquarius natives really, really reconsider a lot. In a positive way or in a negative way. This is where Aquarius natives were hell-bent on putting down the divorce. They go to the husband, I am divorcing. And much to their surprise, this husband becomes a perfect man. The man of their dreams, out of the shock and terror. They will, of course, not go through with the divorce. Because, no, there is the time where you're no longer the man I fell in love with. I'm sorry. But there is the moment where you still have it. I'm not letting you go. So yeah, this can play out in so and so. But the other thing is, this can also be contracts, like business partners, everything that has to do with business, rent, mortgage, but contractually, terms and conditions. If you change your mind, you can rearrange. So, moment of truth. And finally, for Pisces natives, this is a moment when they do need to embrace healing, when they do need to relax, when they do need to go into self-care mode and introduce like truly positive, empowering, inspirational and nurturing routines into their lives. This can also be a period of detox, and when medical checkups are quite wise to be executed. Why? Because either it gives you a sense of comfort that I'm okay, I'm a-okay, keep up the good work, or if there's something starting, an imbalance just starting, before it even causes any harm, if you detect it, a small diet change can all that quickly prevent. Aquarius is really good at prevention, because you predict that it is the case, and because you know how to, your prediction makes sense, you immediately change it. You prevent something, an imbalance, from getting bigger. So, and also, naturally, this can also be quite a spiritual time when you're guided and you have a lot of prophetic dreams. So this concludes my take on next week's astrological events, on next week's astral sky, so to speak. Thank you everyone for all the love, all the support. Thank you for listening so far. And I wish everyone a really, really surprising and delightful full moon in Leo. And until next time, bye for now.